Welcome to Uncle's Channel. Thanks for watching today. Let's talk about the brand new guide that just came out from Future Press called the Armored Core Part 6 Fires of the Rubicon Official Pilot's Manual. And if you know much about the company Future Press, anytime they cover a game for a player's guide or as far as like in-depth lore or anything like that, they pretty much make the absolute best book for that game possible. And lucky for us From Software fans, they pretty much cover every From Software game, from like Elden Ring to Dark Souls to Bloodborne. I think almost every game is covered except for Dark Souls 3. I don't think they did one for that. And they didn't do one for Demon Souls either. But any other From Software game that you get, Future Press is going to have the ultimate guide for it. And also these guides are somewhat rare. They only do like one printing of most of them. And the printing does last for about a solid year. But after that, they don't print any more of them. And they go way up in value. So if you haven't picked up the official Armored Core Part 6 guide yet, I do recommend it, even if you're just like sort of interested in the game, because this will probably skyrocket in value over the upcoming years, especially since Armored Core is not like part of the Souls series of sorts. And so I think this one will probably go up in value a little bit faster because not as many people are going to pick the guide up. But today we're going to go through a full review of the guide. We're going to look at every single page inside the book, give you a little bit of a preview as we go, as well as sort of break down exactly what is included as far as like overall topics and how well they cover those topics as we go. But let's go ahead and dive into the actual book. Alright, so we're looking at the cover of the book here. Now, this is the only Future Press book that I know of that actually has a book sleeve. And it's a transparent book sleeve, as you can see here. And you can see the raven, of course, is on the main sleeve itself. We're going to go ahead and take that off so we can get into the main book here, just because the glare is a little bit off on it as well. Now, I actually like the cover of this a good bit better than having the raven on there. I enjoy seeing the actual mech. I like the shadowing on it. I think the artwork looks absolutely fantastic. A great cover to the book. So we go ahead and open it up here. We have a small introduction from the team at Future Press that sort of goes over like why they're creating the guide here, sort of their background on the game itself, as far as like, for new players or returning players. It goes through that and has a great little picture of the actual Armored Core scenery as well as your mech at the same time. A good little introduction for the overall guide. Now over here we have the chapter guide as far as like chapter 1 system guide, chapter 2 assembly, chapter 3 mission intel, chapter 4 arena guide, chapter 5 enemy analysis, chapter 5 extra intel, and then more of a in-depth table of contents over here so you can see exactly where you want to go if you're looking to use the book for an actual guide instead of like a coffee table book. And let's be honest, most players who purchase the guide will probably use it more for a coffee table book, but that's completely okay because there is so much information to use inside here that it's a great one to just pick up and sort of skim through when you have spare time. Chapter 1 system guide, a wonderfully little painted picture over here off the side. Not an in-game picture, just simply a painted picture. And I love that they took the effort to do that. Possibly early concept art or made completely original by them. Now, chapter 1 is probably going to be the most boring of all the chapters, so I'll go through it pretty quickly here. It basically goes through exactly like what's on the screen itself, as far as like, how to attack enemies, the basic controls, the game flow as far as like, when you're equipping yourself in the garage, swapping parts out for your mech, choosing your chapter, the arena, the different game options, combat zone, how checkpoints work. This is really, really basic stuff, and I'm going to go through this chapter very, very briefly. And if you want to pause the video at any point to see more of an in-depth analysis of any of these pages, by all means, feel free to do such thing. But it's going to be a very, very simple chapter here. Talks about movement, how to use your boost effectively, quick boost, as well as like your assault boost, different leg types, bipedal, reverse, tetrapod. Goes through all of that. Let's see here. Engaging in combat, how to fire your weapons, your reload types, your direct hits, your impact, core expansions. Great artwork, great screenshots to show everything that they're talking about as well. Talking about target acquisition here, weapons and damage types. If you pretty much play the game and just sort of follow the tutorial, most of this is not going to be, I guess you could say, rocket science to a degree. But it's going to be, if you want to sort of learn more about it, exactly what they mean, with all the different wording and things like that, this is going to be a chapter for you. Now, chapter 2 is going to be another chapter. It's not going to be necessarily the most exciting chapter. It's going to deal with assembly as far as like, how you're going to actually put your mech together, as far as like which parts you should use, swapping parts out, selling parts. The first part of this chapter is not the most exciting, but when it gets into all the detail of every single weapon and every single piece of armor that you can equip, it does get pretty exciting, or at least pretty informative at that point. And so right here is going through exactly how to tune your mech exactly, what all the specs mean, just sort of give you an idea of exactly what you want to upgrade, how you want to upgrade it, as you go. Like I said, if you want to sort of skip over to the more exciting parts, I'll actually put a little timestamp here in the video to sort of get you to the more exciting parts of the video. But this is going to be, once again, to sort of explain how rapid fire works, homing types, duration, weapon duration, damage mitigation, impact dampening, stuff like that. Alright, now we're getting to more of a build showcase here, and this is actually a pretty cool page because it actually shows you 4 individual builds that they recommend to get you through some of the harder parts in the game, and it gives you exactly what weapons you should pick, which armor you should pick, which footing base that you should have as well, in order to be like a berserker, a flare, revolver, or a kami here. And so there's different ones that you can choose from, and obviously you can make your own inside the game. That's what most players do. But if you want to do exactly what their build is, it does go through and show you exactly how to set up pretty much overpowered builds inside the game. And now from this point on, we're going to get into more of the actual guide on every single weapon, and I absolutely love this part of it. It goes through every weapon, shows you an individual picture of it, gives you every part of the part spec, the cost of it, exactly, as far as like the charge time, the rapid fire, how many rounds it has, every single detail about every single weapon inside the game, and some little screenshots here of the weapons themselves in action. This to me is one of the best parts of the guide, because at some point you're playing through the game, you're like, exactly how does this weapon work? I want to know a little bit more detail about it, and this is the exact page that you're going to go to figure out which weapons would fit best with your mech as you're playing the game. This is a actual very valuable part for the game itself, and so if you're going to purchase the guide for nothing else, I think the guide for the weapons and the armor and all of that is a great reason to purchase the guide. Now, as I'm looking through this, like, holy cow, sometimes you don't realize like how many weapons are inside the game until you're looking at a guide quite like this and just going through it. But you got the back weapon units. We just went through the handguns a while ago, and the rifles and such. These are the ones that you would strap onto the back of your mech. The missile launchers as well. And like, this is just a fantastic guide as far as like really giving you every single bit of information you could possibly hope for that the game has. Sometimes I wonder, like, does From Software like even like know all the information about the weapons like that they know? I mean, obviously they made the game, yes, that's obvious, but like every little bit here, sometimes I feel like they program it in there. They don't really think a whole lot about it, except for like the people who are like really in depth in the programming. And then someone like Future Press comes along and like basically pulls out the core code of the game and just really breaks it down for every player to get every single piece of information. Right here we're looking at all the different legs that you can have on your mech itself. And so we're just sort of going through all the different bases. Oh, we're getting ready to go into the inner parts here as far as like the boosters and such. Those are obviously very valuable as far as constructing the best mech possible. Getting all the little generator parts as well. And this was probably one of the more confusing parts as far as choosing the best generator for your mech. So it's good that they actually went through and explained some of that. Now the expansion part is really cool here, because the expansion part did leave a few questions inside the game, and this is going to allow you to sort of answer those questions about exactly what some of those expansions do. Now we're getting into Chapter 3, the mission intel, and once again, I love these painted pictures here. That is, what was that, going up against the smart cleaner, it looks like. These right here could literally be posters inside of a room, or a game room, or inside of an office, and they look fantastic. I love particularly that picture right there. Now the mission intel is going to go through every single mission inside the game and give you details as far as like the objectives, the summary, the overview, the enemy data, the map, the step points, the boss, everything that you could possibly need to know inside that particular level. And of course it starts with the first level here, mission 00, the prologue, and it's going to work its way through. Right here we got the HC helicopter, and you got the little map here to go along with it, screenshots, how to defeat the boss, everything you need to know about the boss. This is the best part of the guide, in my opinion. I know I said about the weapons a while ago, as far as like the most useful, but this is the most exciting to sort of thumb through. You're just like, hanging out in the room, have a coffee table book, pick it up to sort of look through and see what all of these different missions are. Now, if you're having trouble with the game, which, some players out there just have a little bit of trouble with Armored Core, this would be a great guide to sort of help you through all of the individual missions as you're going. And man, looking back through this, it makes me want to pick the game up and just play it all over again. I love the design that they did for their mech there. Very cool colors. I got some of the little quotes as well from the game. And great looking mech as well. This is just simply a excellent breakdown of the game itself. And I feel like how they actually kept the colors for the level at the same time, sort of ice level. That's one thing I actually really did love about Armored Core 6 is so much of it was fought like in the ice world, because I do love snow games, or any, I'm going to take that back, not a snow game like Snow Dogs or something like that. I love a game that takes place in the wintertime or a snow level. And so this is really doing a fantastic job with that. Ooh, the Strider boss. Now that is a really cool breakdown of that. You can sort of see an overview of it, because in the game it's so large you don't really get to see the outside of it as much. Operation Wall Climber, I do remember that particular mission as well. So many screenshots to really just guide you through it. The Juggernaut, that was a fun boss fight. Like, that was one that wasn't too hard. You sort of had to learn the boss itself, and was a fun boss fight. I tell you, this is going to be one to play through the game all over again. And you know, Christmas is coming up here, Christmas vacation for a lot of people. I think myself might end up playing a little bit of Armored Core over the break. And so we're going through here, once again, maps of every single level as we go. And if you want to pause the video at any time to sort of zoom in on something, you know, something you have a question about, feel free to zoom in on that and sort of get all the details that you might need on here. And you know, as you're playing the game, you knew the mechs looked good, but like they look so much better, like in these still images, and just seeing it like coming to life, man. Like, this is what the Transformers movies should look like as far as like their graphics go. I would love a Transformer movie with like that actual art direction. Some of the Transformer movies are really good. Some are sort of trash. It just sort of depends. Bumblebee was the best one, but you didn't come here for my opinion on the Transformer movies. But speaking of Bumblebee, same color scheme as Bumblebee there. Just excellent guide. Oh, the smart cleaner, like I was talking about earlier, in the painted picture. And you can see all different phases here, really breaking it down, all different moves of the boss. I mean, if you're having trouble in the game, this is the ultimate guide to help you through the game itself. It looks like we are readying ourselves for which mission is coming up here. I sort of lost count of which mission we're on. Ooh, the Sea Spider. Now that was a boss I actually had a little bit of trouble with in the game. Seeing it from that angle is a really cool angle for the boss itself. Really, you have to have the best build possible to take him out. I know some people had a little bit of trouble with the boss before him. What was it, Baltius? But to me, Sea Spider was the first like really hard boss inside the game. Looks like we've already passed the bookmark, or we're coming up on the bookmark itself. And so we're going through here. Boy, doesn't that look like the USS Enterprise from Star Trek? Definitely does to me, the heavy warship. The attack of the refueling base. Man, they are such good drawings, or such good animation here. They really pulled that out of the game files perfectly for this guide. Now, some of these I could understand if you're just sort of a spectator, could look a little bit boring as far as the maps, but knowing how the game works and plays out, this is a perfectly informed map to give you every detail that you might need, as well as a perfect path to take in order to accomplish the mission. Oh yes, AC guidance. Tunnel sabotage. I remember these maps very well. Oh, we finally made our way to the bookmark. We're going to go ahead and put the bookmark up here, at least for now. Sort of keep it out of the main book. Holy cow, I do not remember a level being that huge, but that just goes to show you like the amount of detail they put into making this game itself and for all of this. Excellent. It even continues over here. Man, so huge. Alright, we got the HC helicopter, the Enforcement Scout. That was not the first boss. You would encounter him a little bit later on in the game. Heavy launch support. We are working our way through. If only the game was this fast. Oh, Heavy Cavalry PCA Warrant Officer. I did a boss guide for every boss inside the game, and that is actually one of the most viewed videos on the channel. And I did not remember him being that hard inside the game, but evidently everyone has flocked to him in particular. And I think it's just simply because the level does not have a checkpoint before you get to him. That makes the boss battle seem a little bit harder than it normally would be. Because a lot of the main bosses that you get to, when you get to them, it's not necessarily the boss itself, it's the run-up. And so they give you a little checkpoint, but not for the one we just mentioned there. This right here looks eerily similar to the actual mech that I chose inside the game, all the way down to like to the color scheme as well. I chose the color scheme for my mech based on the colors of the channel here. Continue on, another Heavy Cavalry boss fight. Let's see, I don't want to skip a page. I want to give you every single page that you can have for this particular guide. as we go. Heaven forbid I skip a single page. Milk 2, I remember him inside the game. Indeed. Nightfall, that was when you're sort of fighting against yourself a little bit. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, I adored the Ice Worm. The Ice Worm, I know some people felt it was a gimmick boss, but to me, I love the battle arena. I love the excitement of the battle. Everything about that particular battle, I just adored. And of course, all the screenshots here of him blowing up and like when to throw the, what was it called? What was it called? Needle gun. Is that the weapon you're using to basically stun him? I love that boss fight. One of my favorites inside the game. Oh wow, they actually got the little cylinder as you're going down. Almost forgot about that particular boss, or that particular level rather. Headbringer, what a ferocious title that you could have there. The Enforcer again. Underground Exploration. Ooh, now that's sweet looking. I like that. I'll tell you, half the reason to pick up these books is just sort of to relive the artwork and the lore of these games itself. Man, look at how well all these mechs are coming out inside the game. Oh man, Steel Haze. That was such a cool cutscene for the game. That's one thing I really do enjoy about the guides as well. It's like it allows you to relive the game itself as you're going through here and just sort of remember all the memories of playing the game. So you don't necessarily have to like pick it up and play it again at that exact moment. You can sort of relive it, as you're looking through the pages. That boss fight there, holy cow, they upped the speed for that one. Pretty much every boss up to this point was sort of a, I'm not going to say sluggish, but wasn't necessarily, lightning speed. That one was lightning speed. And so also as you're going through the guide here, you may actually see some missions that you didn't do because depending on the path that you took inside the game, you may have, avoided some of these bosses. And so you have to sort of, go back and play the game multiple times if you want to see every ending. Also, if you want to see every single level, because there are split paths that you can take as you go. Like as I'm looking at here, I don't believe I actually went through Circus or Full Course. I believe those were in a different route than what I took. And so I'll have to come back and read a little bit more about those. And so, Steel Haze coming up again. That was definitely the path that I took because I remember old Rusty. Alright, now we're getting sort of the end phase here. This was the boss that I took on at the end. Such a sad boss fight when you're taking her out. So if you did not go to the final ultimate end, you can actually see that right here. The bosses that you would have fought and taken out. I really do think at some point they should go through and make like action figures or do like model figures for some of these lines because I think it'd be a great seller. I think From Software fans would really enjoy constructing these mechs and just like change out the parts as well. Now that would be a really cool like action figure or a toy line that they could do, and I don't know, I could see myself collecting quite a few of the Armored Core mechs, and perhaps they're out there and I just don't know about it, but to my mind they are not necessarily out there. Alright, now we've gone through all of the core game itself. Now we're moved into what's called enemy analysis. Now enemy analysis is going to go through and basically break down every single enemy inside the game, give you every single stat they have, every amount of damage that they can give out with their particular weapons, what weapons they choose to use, and obviously the bosses are going to be mentioned earlier in the book. This is going to be focusing more on just sort of the individual enemies that you might encounter. It's going to give fantastic artwork for every single mech or every single robot or every single enemy that you could possibly encounter inside this game. And like I said, the artwork itself is the main reason you buy these guides. And so you can sort of look through here and just see how much detail and how much work and how much effort went into creating the game of Armored Core 6, and also how much work they went into to create this particular guide. But you're reliving the memories of the game itself, and so it's just so cool to see all of these come to life on individual pages, screenshots from the game, as well as individual artwork for every single creature or every single enemy. And look at this, to give you an idea of like how long the guide is, we're already on page 329 and we still have a ways to go as we're working through it. And I love how they like actually give you detail, lore, extra facts about every single enemy. Like, who was ever playing through the game and thought to themselves like, boy, that turret sure is interesting, I really want to know more about that turret. Well, have no fear, Future Press is here, and they're going to give you every bit of detail you could possibly want about every single enemy, turret, gun, weapon inside Armored Core 6. And some of these names, like I'll admit, I did not know their names as I was going through it. I'm sure it probably, mentioned it, but I did not necessarily know them. Chapter 5 is the Arena Guide, because obviously part of the game itself is going through all of the arenas. And as you go through the arenas, you get more upgradable material. And so it basically breaks down the boss fight or the arena fight for every single mech inside the game. Gives you the perfect strategy to go through it. Their build, as well as a recommended build to go inside and fight them off with. And so really with this guide, you have no reason to ever lose in the game. And a lot of these mechs we've seen earlier because they reappear in the main storyline for the game. But some of these are particular just for the arena fights. And so if you're having any trouble with any of the arena battles, right here is the perfect breakdown of how to build your mech to have the ultimate strategy against any of these as you're going against them. There's old Cinder again. And old Rusty. Rusty, I can't help but love Rusty in the game. I'm curious, how many people out there who are watching this video actually beat every single arena fight? Because there are a heck of a lot of them. How many people out there actually defeated every single one of these arenas? And obviously there's a lot of rewards for doing it, but it's also a lot of work as well. Extra intel here, obviously showing a little bit of a clip from the end game. I won't spoil anything else that I haven't already spoiled already in this video. Hopefully I haven't spoiled anything for anybody. I just sort of told you who one of the final bosses could be. But through here you're going to get a little bit of, as far as like extra information, like which enemies, how well you have to score to get a bronze, silver on the levels, as far as like giving different emblems that you can get inside the game that you can actually put on side your mech. I don't know how many of those I actually got as I played through it. Progression guide, as far as like giving you the different routes that you can take for New Game, as well as New Game Plus. So if you haven't gone through New Game Plus, here's your opportunity to learn all about it. And even New Game Plus Plus, because as opposed to some of the other From Software games, this one actually changed a lot when it came to New Game Plus, as well as getting the S rank guide for every single part of the game as well. And so I tell you, like the guide itself, there are no better guides out there than what Future Press can create. And whether you're getting it for a collector's item, whether you're getting it to actually beat the game, whether you're getting it just simply to buy a guide for price to go up one day, I can understand all of those reasons. But if you just simply want it for a coffee table book, which is what I use them for, that is like the ultimate thing. Just pick up, you got a little bit of free time, skim through it, learn something new, relive some memories, and just really enjoy the game all over again. Because sometimes you want to play the game, but like you're like, man, I got to load up the actual system here. You got to put the game in, unless you did the digital option. Having trouble with those 2 pages there. And sometimes it takes a little while to go through and get all that set up, and then which mission you want to play. And this allows you to sort of relive those memories and to work through it. There's my old ice worm again. Oh me, wonderful, wonderful little guide here. We're coming almost to the close of the guide. We're not hardly there. Just a few pages left. Just a little bit of extra information about some of the areas inside the game to get that S rank for those areas. And then let's see, trophy achievement guide, how to get every single trophy in the game. If you want to go for the completionist run, as well. And then of course we have the index, which breaks down anything that you might want to know for a quick reference as well. And then there incoming credits and thanks as well. And so overall, guys, then let's take a look at the back of the book. Overall, this is a fantastic guide, and like I said, great coffee table book, great book to you know, put on the shelf, display. All your friends will come over, be jealous of the book, and so you know, like I said, it's going to be a great collector's item as the years go by. Like I said, Future Press, top-notch company, top-notch guides, top-notch artwork, just top-notch in every way. Pick up the guide before it's out of print. I think you'll be happy that you did. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos listed up above. And as always, go out there, find a great game to play. Simply have a great rest of the day.